Not everybody reads a food label when they go to the store. They simply pick up products without really checking the nutrition label that indicates cholesterol and fats or the sodium and vitamin contents. Across the world, some countries have been making a conscious effort, even amending legislation for consumers to make healthier decisions. In the Caribbean, some island states have begun the process of transitioning to front-of-package labeling of goods to indicate whether they are healthy or high risk. Locally, the initiative is being spearheaded by the Belize Bureau of Standards, and in a round of consultation today, private sector stakeholders, including importers, were brought in the dialogue.
Today we are actually presenting to the business sector a draft CARICOM regional standard that is actually being worked on right now. This standard is a labeling standard for prepackaged foods. But one of the important things about this standard is that it has been a recent addition to the work that we're doing at the regional level on front of package labeling. The front of package labeling is a little bit more, I think, will be a little bit more challenging in terms of its implementation at the regional level, simply because it's a requirement now, it would be a requirement once the standard is passed at the regional level and approved. It would require then for packaging of food to then identify with, to specifically label food that is high in calories, foods that are high in saturated fat, sodium, and what have you. So that would be a specific requirement of the labeling.
Because not everybody reads a food label, right? So once you start doing, for example, traffic signals, and you put a red dot on a product, then you know without reading the label that that's something that you're not going to consume. And then the red dot is going to say, okay, this has a high sodium content, this is high sugar content, it has a high total carbohydrate content. So makes it easier then for persons.
This has been discussed at the Caribbean Regional Public Health Agency and at Comisca meetings as to the direction the region will take because it has health implications. Other countries like Chile, Peru, Ecuador, and Mexico are already practicing front-of-package labeling to help with lowering non-communicable diseases. Dr. Marvin Manzanero says that the Ministry of Health welcomes the initiative because it is seen as an investment in health.
Because this becomes a prevention strategy. I mean, if you're doing food labeling that's telling somebody that it's an unhealthy food choice, then it becomes a prevention measure. I mean, it has a trickle effect. Why? Because obesity is high rates in Belize, hypertension, diabetes, those are associated to what we eat and physical inactivity. But 90% of it may be associated to what we consume. So we are pushing for the front of package labeling because it's an investment in health down the road. I mean, you're going to have implications, you're going to have savings, if you will, down the road in terms of health.
Director of the Belize Bureau of Standards, Sula Trejo, says that the timeline for the final draft of the standard is 2020. While the national consultations are underway, there will be education campaigns to help with the transition, which is needed for Belize and the region to make healthier choices.
It's not as easy as one would want to think because we're talking about $251 million worth of foods that we import, which is about 14% of our total import bill. I think the figure is about 1.8 billion for 2018. So it's not going to be an easy thing for us to do, but this is why we're looking at other countries and see how they implemented, what are some of the schemes that they put in place to ensure that we put in a system that works, that is not burdensome to trade facilitation, because the idea is we are not here, the Ministry of Health, neither the Bureau of Standards, to impede trade. Right? Our role is to facilitate trade.
Duane, Moody for News 5.